Hi guys, welcome back to Life with Dinzo. If you're new here, my name is Dinley, and today I have a special guest joining me. Because this is going to be a fun video, we are going to talk about fast jobs, or rather we're going to talk about working and living in Australia as a student. And just to put a disclaimer, this is just purely based on our experiences. We both took very similar but different journeys, so we just wanted to share that with you guys and maybe give you some tips on how I guess you can survive if you're new here. So welcome, and let's get into today's video.
Who's going first?
I will start.
All right.
Okay, and if I haven't introduced him, this is Isaac, the other
Yes.
half of Dinzo.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess before I came to Australia, I knew that in my mind I needed to come here and get a job so that I'm able to support myself and, you know, maybe be able to pay my fees so that I can complete my studies and, you know, try and live out here. But honestly, it's not as easy as it sounds, because I'll talk about my experience. When I moved here, I worked on my resume and I sent out a couple of I applied to a couple of jobs, and I thought I'd hear back because I've got work experience from Kenya, but that was not the case. I actually got a lot of rejections when I was trying to apply for corporate jobs. But this was like 2016. This was what was it? This was what? This was just when I was beginning. So I didn't really have someone to guide me or tell me that, you know, like there's different types of work that you need to do as a student to be able to survive. So for me, I thought maybe I need to come and get a full-time job, maybe working in an office, and that's the kind of job I needed to do so that I'm able to, you know, like support myself. But first of all, in Australia, there's three types of employment. You know, there's casual employment, there is full-time, and there's part-time. Yeah. And if you're a student or if you're on student visa, it's very hard for you to get a full-time employment, because that means you're working 5 days a week, because you have visa limitations. So you're only meant to work up to 20 hours a week.
A week, yeah. 40 a fortnight.
40 a fortnight, yeah. So that is the one challenge that you're facing. And the second thing that I know is, even with recruiters, when they see you have that student visa thingy on your resume, it's so hard, because they already know that you can't be taken on as full-time employment. So I've gone really far. So I'll bring it back to my very first job. So after applying to so many different jobs, I decided to go into hospitality, because I do have a bachelor's in hospitality and that was my background. So I thought maybe I'll get a job, you know, like doing waitressing or working in a cafe or something like that. And I was lucky enough to get an interview with this agency, and they do hospitality. And this was my first time working with an agency, because I've never done this before. And working with an agency is very interesting, because you don't really have permanent place of work. You know, like they call you and you go to different places so that you can provide a service. So I'll talk to you about the interview process and how that all went down. I remember the interview was in the city, so I woke up, went to the city, and when I got to the office, there were like 10 other people also being interviewed. So it was actually a bulk interview. That was my first time to do a bulk interview. I never even knew they existed. So we all sit in a room, and then the manager is there asking you random questions like, how long have you been working in hospitality, and things like that. And then the interview takes about 15 minutes, and then it's done. Then we had to do some training, so all of us sort of like progressed to the next stage. We went into like another office, and we had computers, and we needed to complete trainings and also get police check. And then after that, you're hired. You're actually given a name badge, and that's it. You're hired. So just before I left the office, I remember they had shifts. So you become a shift worker. So you're working shifts. You're not working as a full-time worker. You're just doing shift work, and you're employed casually. So I remember before I left, they actually had a shift to be covered that same day. And he was working at MCG. So MCG is the cricket stadium.
Melbourne Cricket Ground.
Yeah, Melbourne Cricket Ground. Yeah. So I remember I needed to go there to do my very first shift because we had footy. It was footy season. So I go to work. I go to MCG. I get there, and then I know you're supposed to meet up with the coordinator, and then you go inside the stadium. And I was working in sort of like a food truck kind of thing, but we were selling alcohol because it was Friday night. So when I'm there, I was supposed to man the register, and it wasn't very busy because people were just getting in and getting to start, you know, watching the game and all that. So it was not so busy. You come in, someone orders a drink, you give them, they give you money. You know how registry works. But
let me pause you right there.
Yeah.
Anything said in this video is without prejudice.
Yes.
Continue.
Anyway, so I'm manning the registry. I'm excited. Honestly, I was very excited because I knew I was gonna get paid my first paycheck. So I was very happy. So I'm standing at the registry, and then it gets busy because it's halftime. So people have actually drank, and now there's like a line of even up to 25 people waiting for you to serve them. And I was the one that is collecting the money. And mind you, this was the first time I was actually seeing or physically holding Australian dollars. I kid you not. So someone gives you $20, and I'm supposed to do the math and give them change back. And I'm telling you, by the end of the night, I probably had given the wrong amount of change to so many people, because when people are drunk, they kind of get a little bit aggressive, and they wanna, you know, want the service to be done so quickly and be done with it. And I remember someone would give me a $50, and I'm supposed maybe to give back $30. And I tell you, I kid you not, I think I gave them back $50. And it was so bad. It was so fast. It was such a fast-paced environment. And I mean, this is all new to me, but I managed to do a good job, went back home, and so that became my type of employment. So if there's a shift, you get you go into the app. So they have apps. You log into the app, and then you get to pick the shift that you need to do. It's not like there's a lot of shifts, because hospitality is very seasonal. That's what I came to realize after doing the job for what, 8 months. It's very seasonal. But yeah, but that was basically my very first job and how the whole process went, which is very different from Isaac's experience, because what did he do?
So my first job was a bit interesting, but the journey is similar. I came here expecting to sort of work in a corporate setting. When I was back home, I'd started doing some internships while in uni in the corporate world, so in investment banking and insurance. So I came here with the same mentality. I started applying for office roles, and of course, there was nothing.
Rejections.
There was just rejections right, left, and center. Some were not even getting back to me. So I had a friend who I'd met just while I was starting to know people, and he was in the pizza delivery sort of line, and I think his mentality was also in that restaurant kind of, you know, roles. So he referred me to, gave me some flyers, and one happened to be McDonald's. So I went on and applied for McDonald's, and managed to secure an interview because I had talked about volunteering in our restaurant back home, which was check it out, DK Restaurants. So yeah, that was apparently I was handling money there, and waitering, so waiting tables. So yeah, that kind of gave me the edge I needed. So I remember the first time I got the interview. Actually, it was a very interesting experience because I didn't know how to get there. I tried to pre-plan it, so I knew the bus to take, at what time to take it. But with buses here, it's a bit tricky because there's no real way of telling when you've gotten to a stop.
Yeah.
So now I know it's easy to just put the GPS and see if you're almost there. But back then I just tried to, look at each and every stop.
Yeah.
Of course, I missed my stop, went to the end. So I'm asking to the bus driver what's happening, is where's McDonald's Road. Is like, oh, we passed that a while back. So I'm already getting late for my interview. But yeah, he managed to bring me back and tell me when we get to the stop. So here I am, 45 minutes late to the interview. And I just explained to my manager then that, yeah, I'm quite green. I don't know much about Australia, and I did actually get lost. He became a laughing point in the interview process, and he actually kind of understood me, and luckily enough I got the job. First shift was full on. I'll tell you this, please respect retail workers. These jobs are really fast paced.
I know.
I remember, especially during like the peak season, peak periods when maybe schools are closed and all the kids are coming to order a million burgers with different variations, no pickles, extra sauce, blah blah blah. So you're there trying to make a million orders. It's crazy. So I got a few wrong. Some I was sending out even without a meat bun. So it's just the bread.
Oh God.
The manager is just screaming down my neck, hey, get your head in the game. But I was sweating profusely. It was interesting, but yeah, I managed to finish my shift. And that was my first experience. But yeah, it was interesting because back then they paid you differently according to how old you are. So us older workers got at least a decent kind of pay. And I remember this because we were in the locker room changing to go home, and one kid was talking about how he's made a good cool $80 after I don't know, 10-hour shift. So I'm asking him, what do you mean? How much are you getting paid? So he's talking about $14 an hour. I'm like, whoa. So I didn't mention what I was getting paid because it was at least $10 extra per hour, which is a big difference. But the thing is, also it was harder for us to get shifts because they would prefer to give the younger guys because it's cheaper for them. That's it. That's the big corporations for you. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, that was my first experience and first job, first day on the job. But yeah.
Yeah. So we both started with hospitality, and then we both kind of went into healthcare.
Yeah.
But different roles, but sort of like the same.
Yeah.
And then finally we both went into completely different industries, banking and HR.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess what I take out of the whole journey is it's not as easy as you think. And it's good to ask questions because for me, I didn't really have anyone to ask. I remember when I met Isaac later on during that year, that's when you were telling me about aged care. So it's like, you should get into aged care, you need to do a certificate, and then that will actually help you to, gain different employment and actually be able to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've seen when people come here nowadays, they're quite switched on. They know what they need to do. They know you need to either do disability or you need to do aged care. And if you're going in that direction, then you need to have your certificate ready. You need to have maybe sometimes a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, in saying that, we do say aged care disability because by the end of the day, it is usually the most flexible kind of work to start you off as a student. And I went into that where I got lucky enough to get part-time employment. So I was just working Friday to Sunday afternoons. So I only had uni, of course, during the weekdays. I didn't have any classes on Friday, so it really worked well with my schedule. And I also heard it from starting to interact more and more with Kenyans, and they were like, yo, this is the way to go. So in hindsight, if I knew much earlier, I think I would have just gone into it directly. But of course I had to study the aged care certificate and all that stuff. But yeah, It's all about getting the information nice and early, and knowing the right people to talk to. You'll be surprised. Most people your first interactions are where you'll start off with, but don't be limited and think that's the only way to go. Talk to people, see what you're interested in. I have to say, initially when I ever heard about aged care, I was a bit iffy about it because, well, of course, I wasn't ready to do some of the work that is associated with aged care, but hey, unavumilia na it works out.
Yeah.
You stop even thinking about it, you stop even like worrying about it, and yeah, you just go with the flow. And even after that, I found out disability is even more flexible, even more chilled, calm. So yeah, if I knew it even earlier, I would have started with disability, and then when I have got a bit more comfortable, have my money sorted out, then I would have started going into corporate, of which that was a journey in itself. But maybe I'll mention it briefly. So when I graduated and was looking into office roles, I still was applying while I was studying, and still nothing was coming up. But I did meet someone in the aged care industry who was an executive director in one of the companies, which was an NGO, so Australian Institute of International Affairs, and I managed to secure a bit of an internship just to get me some Australian experience. So it was interesting because the ways I got it through is just talking to, like, associating with people in aged care, and one of the parents, or one of the children of the person I was taking care of, is who gave me that opportunity, and that opened doors for me to now, and where I secured a role. So another thing is just always be free to discuss your position, and you never know who's listening. They'd be more than interested to help you out and get you to where you need to be. So yeah, really, because I mean, with me, what happened was I really struggled to get into aged care because I knew that I needed to work smart, not hard, because I mean, hospitality is really hard, especially if you're doing catering, if you're doing events. That is so hard. Imagine carrying 3 plates with 2 hands, and those plates are heavy and big, and they have food, and you're always running. I mean, it's hard. So I guess for me, I really tried so hard to get into aged care, but for some reason I never was able to get into it. It didn't work out. Like, I applied to so many jobs and I was getting rejections, and I don't know why. But one time for me, the thing with me is, I know if I go into an interview, I can talk my way into a job. Like, I feel like I know how, I have people skills. I can convince you to give me the job because I know I've got the transferable skills, so I can actually do the job. I just need to, like, get in. So I remember when I was applying for aged care, disability, home care, and all that, funnily enough, I got an interview with a very small company, and I know I went to the interview and it was such a lovely interview, but unfortunately I needed to have a car, but I was not driving. But they still took me on, and they're like, if we ever need someone to do like those overnight shifts, then maybe we can give you a call. And I was patient. I never resigned. I stayed on without getting any work from them. Not until one day when they called me and they said, you know what, Dinley, we need someone to work in the office. And that's how I started my office roles, because I was open to that. I went in and I was able to secure a job part-time, and by the time I was done with uni, I'd already gained almost 3 years work experience in healthcare, and that was, that helped me get into HR because that's what I wanted to do. But even in saying that, even as much as I had the experience working in an office, me actually getting into HR was really difficult because they needed someone who has the title. They needed someone who's actually done HR. But like I've said, I just needed to get an interview because I know myself. If I have an interview, I can go and I can plead my case. Not plead, but I can talk my case. And when I got that one interview for HR and I got that job,
that honestly opened up doors for me completely to where I am right now, and still in the same industry, but it's been a journey. So as much as you get 1,000,001 rejections, just keep trying, because you never know. You just need that one interview. And also, I came to realize as a recruiter now, you need to be prepared. You really need to be prepared. Don't just apply to 1,000,001 jobs and, you know, don't even do any research and just rock up, because people can tell when someone is prepared. And even if you lack as much experience as other people, you know, it's the passion and it's the willingness to, you know, to work, that people can see that and they take on that vibe.
And not to mention the transferable skills.
And the transferable skills,
people like people skills more here.
Yeah, true. I mean, you wanna have good co-workers. Yeah. So that was what, how many years now? So many years ago.
Yeah, that's my first one. That was 2014 for the first one. But if I was to count, so started with McDonald's, went into hospitality as well. So the 3-plate curry, I actually prepared it. I actually Googled how to do a 3-plate curry before my interview, as if they were gonna ask me to do it. But hey, as she said, you need to be prepared, because they did actually ask me, do you know how to do a 3-plate curry? And I said, yeah, I've been doing it all my life. So yeah. And then there was aged care, and then there was disability, and then there was the internship, and then there was a small bank, Bank Australia, and now NAB. So it's been a progressive journey. It's been a journey. Yeah. But yeah. But again, kazi ni kazi. And it don't. Well, I don't know. There's somewhere me and my friend drew a line as a joke. I don't know if you can work in a mortuary, but that's why I said nah. But hey, anyone can do anything. I've heard more bizarre rules people are doing out here, and they're still making bank. So you have to have an open mind when you come here. Yeah, for sure.
It's true. Yeah, and you have to work smart, not hard. Yeah, because even if you're hired casually, you know, you can't be like, I don't want to take casual job, I just want to do part-time or full-time. There's benefits to doing it casually, because you get a casual loading, and then if you're doing nights, that's a different rate. If you're doing weekends, that's a different rate. You know, like, you need to work smart. Yeah, you have to work smart, but it doesn't mean kazi ni kazi. That's all we're gonna say. And
when she says she can talk her way into an interview, it's always good to embellish but not lie. So you can always say, like, even if it's availability, you don't go and say, I'm only available weekends. Nah, get in there, get your foot in, then you can, you know, as long as you're already in, then you can maneuver yourself into what works for you.
Yeah, but this is purely based on our experiences. Yeah, so you do what you feel like is right for you. But all in all, it's good to know people. That's one. It's good to talk to people, get that information, so that you don't come here and you're wasting so many years before you get to do what can actually help you. Because it's hard. It's very costly to come and live here as a student, you know, and if you're also paying your own fee, you need to pay your own bills. Like, it's very costly. So when you're coming here, try and have those conversations with people and know what people are doing to help them. Otherwise, you're gonna be like us. You're just gonna, you know, waste a couple of months before you do what you need to do. Yeah.
Our camera stopped recording, guys, but that's it from us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.